Hey everyone, another day, another handheld, this one being the U8. The U8 is a third in the Aliexpress Anniversary Sale Micro Series I'm doing, and the first to have been suggested by viewers, so thank you very much for the suggestions. The U8 has been hovering around the $20 mark during the anniversary sale, and this is a pre-coupon price, so there's potential here for a really good deal for those that are looking for an entry-level retro gaming handheld. The U8 is powered by the Rockchip 3326, which gives us some pretty solid performance for everything up to and including the PlayStation 1 game catalogue, with some, but far from all, of the games being playable from the Nintendo 64, Dreamcast and PSP game catalogues. Otherwise, we've got 1 gig of RAM, a 4-inch display with a 800 by 480 resolution, a pretty fair 3500 mAh battery, as well as a pretty decent weight of around 215 grams, and a Linux Emulec-based firmware available straight out of the box. So, overall, a great set of specs for an entry-level price. Straight out of the box, the U8 looks and feels like a budget handheld, but thankfully one of the better ones. It's a good candy bar shape that feels fine in the hands. There's some rubber grips stuck to the back where you can kind of see the glue overspill, but otherwise it's a fairly solid build overall, with no sharp edges, big misalignments, or small housing gaps typically seen in other budget handheld casing. On top, we've got the inline shoulder buttons, as well as power, reset, and volume buttons, and a USB-C port. On the bottom, we've got 2 microSD card slots, another USB-C port, and a headphone jack, alongside the speaker grills. On the front, we've got the standard controller layout, but also a dedicated function key, which we always love to see. In terms of controls, and starting with the inline shoulder buttons, which, although are on a little on the small and compact side of sizing, are actually incredibly easy to reach, and thanks to the L2 and R2 buttons being raised, are easy to press precisely too. The Switch-style joysticks both press in and don't really offer any surprises, good or bad, but the D-pad isn't the greatest, so it does at least offer a decent alternative, thankfully. The D-pad itself is pretty stiff with its directional input, which does send the D-pad into the shell with a little pressure too. There's an over-generous pivot with an incredibly stiff centre to it, which ultimately doesn't make it the most reliable D-pad, and unfortunately results with few missed inputs here and there for me too. The buttons are small, a tad too much on the smaller side for me personally, but they are incredibly quiet, really quiet in fact, and although I'm not a fan of their gloss covering, they're not too bad overall, which I think, in fact, ultimately sums up the U8's controls. They're far from the best, and there's a lot there to be improved on, but for entry-level pricing, the U8 doesn't do too bad of a job overall. Equally, we do get a version of Emulec straight out of the box, and although there's a few questionable setup decisions, like the function key being mapped to quick RetroArch rather than an actual function key, these can be customized and optimizations can be made, which is great. Some of the options, menus, like Wi-Fi being available despite the handheld not actually having wireless inbuilt, can be slightly confusing to newcomers, but overall it is great to see. So, with that all said, I'll cut some gameplay footage now before summarising back up the end. Overall, I can definitely see why the U8 was recommended for this micro series. For around $20, if not less during Aliexpress promotions, the U8 is a great entry-level retro gaming handheld, and although it's got some quirks with its firmware and controls, as well as having an unreliable D-pad, it still represents great value for money, which is exactly what this micro series has been about in the first place. With that said, please do keep your recommendations coming, let me know what you think of the U8, and thanks so much for watching.